Mr. Brun, thank you for coming. I would like to speak about the tension between Azerbaijan and France. It has so many reasons. One of them is the policy of double standards that is France is pursuing right now, especially when it comes to South Caucasus, because on one hand, France is saying that we want peace, we want sustainable, dignified peace in the region, but on the other hand, it is keeping on providing arms to Armenia. What's your viewpoint on that?
Well, if you are seeking for any coherence in the French foreign policy, it will be very difficult for you. It's the main problem, you know. Usually, the enemy of our friends are our enemies. The friends of our friends are our friends, but it's very different. For instance, France is a friend of Armenia and the enemy of Iran, but Iran is the friend of Armenia, so it's not coherent at all. Well, in fact, I think that the French foreign policy is ruled by the domestic problem, the domestic policy. And of course, we have in France, you know that, a huge Armenian diaspora, 800,000 people, and this diaspora is very powerful because they lead most of the media, and of course they are able to vote for, you know, for the election and so on. So they are very powerful and concentrated in the three main cities in France: Paris, Lyon and Marseille. This is, of course, a reason. But the second reason is that now the French policy is far right-wing policy. And with the complicity of Armenia, they are trying to turn this conflict into a civilization, conflict. That means that we are supporting the Christian Armenia against the Muslim Azerbaijan. If everybody knows that Azerbaijan is a secular country and not a Muslim country, and you know also that the Western Christian who are supposed to support exist also in Azerbaijan. So it's stupid, but it's the way they do politics. So don't be surprised of this incoherence with this double language. You know, we have the same language, for instance, for the Middle East conflict now. So it's like France is working now.
You mentioned Armenian lobby, saying that it's very powerful. It has influence on the policy making and so on in France. But do you think that it is the only reason? Don't you think that also religious aspect of all those things are also influencing France's foreign policy and also its double standard policy?
Yes, exactly what I told you. I mean that. Of course, you have a strong diaspora, but this diaspora is strong because we let it to be strong. In fact, the Armenians put millions of dollars in communication because it is their last fight. And I remember a few weeks ago, the Azerbaijani ambassador in France, Leila Abdullayeva, made some interview at the television channel, and these interviews were very powerful. I received phone calls from everywhere, even from United States, and they say, "Wow, this is wonderful. We have learned something, you know." So maybe
it makes sense. You mean? Right?
Yeah, really, of course, because in the French media we say that Azerbaijan has attacked the Armenians, occupied the Karabakh. It's exactly the contrary. So she said, no, it's exactly the opposite. Of course, we have four United Nations resolutions saying that Karabakh is Azerbaijani, and all these people just occupied this part of Azerbaijan. It's not the opposite. And when the Armenians left from Karabakh, from Khankendi, they left not because Azerbaijani want them to leave, it's because they decided to leave. And she said that. And so people say, okay, maybe it sounds different. So it's very important to communicate. Some journalists like me, we do our best. But of course, you have this tremendous heavy, this tremendous weight of the Armenian communication. But we can do something, of course.
What about the adverse impact of nationalism that is growing and growing in France right now? What about this aspect influencing our relations with France?
Well, you know, when something, when you a country feel weak, it's trying to find a common enemy, you know, and with Mr. Sarkozy, almost 15 years ago, he said, okay, we have to, because nothing is going on in France. We have a lack of doctors. We have a lack of teacher. The taxes are very heavy, and so on and so on and so on. So we have to be proud again to be a French, you know. Because really, the French now are desperate. And so the question is, what exactly means to be French? Okay, you can't answer this question. To be French is, I don't know. To be born in France, or I don't know. So they tried to ask this question, what is not to be French? And when you ask this question, this leads to racism, xenophobia, and so on. And they found some enemies, domestic enemies and foreign enemies. Domestic enemies are who? Migration and the Muslims. We have 10 million Muslims in France. And of course, abroad, the enemy are the so-called Muslim countries, Turkey, and its sister country, of course, Azerbaijan. This is a problem. And in France, the Muslims have really a hard time, really a hard time. And you know, in this during this conflict, this Middle East conflict, they forbid people to demonstrate their support to Palestine. When you went to a demonstration supporting Palestine, you got a fine, you know.
Do you admit that nationalism right now is at its highest level, is at its peak right now?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know if you can call it nationalism. In fact,
because
it's very strange things.
Ethnic minorities are always complaining about
yes,
discrimination policy.
Yes, they are. But how can I say? No. The people of France, they are not racist. They are not.
No, I'm talking about the policy of the government.
It's
not
just the
about
policy of government, not only the government, but also the political parties, because they all think it's a big mistake that they can grab their voices only at the far right. It's a very big mistake. It's because that Sarkozy lost his re-election after Hollande lost his re-election, and now we have a president who has the lowest opinion in all the history. So it's, I know it's stupid, but it's like that. It's not really nationalism. It's just racism and xenophobia. That's all.
I would to a little bit talk about the foreign policy of France, because we have many headlines saying that France has failed, in fact, in Africa. It's in fact ousted from Africa, and now is seeking for other countries to partner with. What do you think about this failure? Why is that? Why right now?
First, when you want to have a foreign policy, you need a vision, and two former presidents and this one has no vision at all. So when you have no vision, you have no foreign policy, and they don't realize that the world is changing. Yesterday we had, the day before we had in Baku this huge conference of non-Iranian countries, and the topic was the struggle against colonialism, and France does not really realize that the colonialism is over now.
Why doesn't France get out of this colonialism policy? Why is it trying to just keep on pursuing this policy?
Well, because for years and years, France stole the resources, the human resources and the earth resources of all these countries. If you have in front of you a big bowl of sweets, and you can eat as much as you want, and one day the people say, okay, we take this bowl out. You are, of course, you are hungry and hungry, and it's exactly what happened. They don't understand that the earth does not belong to three countries in the world anymore. The French Empire, the British Empire, the Spanish Empire is finished, but it's very difficult to to accept that. You have in France people who have this kind of nostalgia of the time of the colonies. Some people think, but really, that Algeria should still belong to France. We have really to change the mind. And what happened here yesterday and the day after is very interesting, because all these countries, we had 18 countries, 18 lands together, saying that, okay, now we want our autonomy, we want our independence. And I think it was the first time that all these countries say, okay, we want to be free. And it's why I think that this Baku initiative will really change the things and will change the world. It's a very good news.
Yeah. And I would like you to focus on the policy of Macron. Do you think that with this policy, which has failed, in fact, in terms of foreign policy and also in terms of domestic policy, because on the one hand, minorities are complaining, are not happy with this policy of discrimination, and on the other hand, French people are also not satisfied.
Yeah.
Do you think that with this policy, Macron is able to keep his power?
Well, you know that he has. He cannot be re-elected, of course, because you can have more than two presidents. But you know, I think he's not realistic. You know, look, when he's abroad, he just stand like that. Oh, look, I'm here, and that's all. You remember this meeting with Putin with this big table, you know. I'm here, but you are here, but look, you are ridiculous. Once there was a meeting with, I don't remember from which country, but with an African country. And there was Macron and the president of these African countries. And Macron asked the African president to fix the air conditioning, you know.
No, ridiculous.
You know, he's really. I think he's in a world that doesn't exist. This guy is not. I don't know. He's living somewhere else, you know. And that's why French people are not satisfied at all. So, when he will not be here anymore, who will be elected? Who? We don't know. I don't know. Really, I don't know. Marine Le Pen. She's unable to rule France. Jean-Luc Mélenchon, at the far left. This guy is not an Islamophobic.
He's not.
No, not at all.
Okay.
He really supports the Muslim, but I'm not sure he will be able to make.
Do you think that
government.
Macron is Islamophobe? Right.
Oh.
Exactly.
Well, he's opportunist. As he wants to grab the far right votes, okay, he's. But look what happened these few days. We had a big demonstration against anti-Semitism. You know, okay, very well, perfect. But it was obvious that this demonstration was turning into an Islamophobic demonstration, and he didn't go to the demonstration. All the government was there, but not him. He knows this. He's not Islamophobic. He's not, but
his actions are telling the opposite.
Yes, because when he feels that it's a good thing for him. To fight against immigration, against Muslim, he do that. When he feels that he has to support Israel against Palestinians, he does that. But if he feels tomorrow that he has to support Palestinians against Israel, he will do it.
What was the biggest mistake of Macron in terms of Africa? Because, of course, African countries never were satisfied with the policy of France against them, of course. But why exactly Macron failed and lost Africa, in fact?
Well, not only Macron, they all failed. Hollande failed, Sarkozy failed. Well, even Chirac failed because they don't accept not to be the French Empire. You know, when I was a little kid, when we were studying geography, we had still these big maps of the world, and on over Africa, you have this big title, French Empire. You know, so we grew up with this idea, and after they built what is called the French Africa. They really used Africa or Polynesia or as just a place for taking resources. You know, the French industry was developed thanks to the Algerian oil. The nuclear industry was developed thanks to the uranium mines in Africa. The nuclear army, nuclear weapons could be developed thanks to the Polynesia, because we made the bombing test in Polynesia, not in around Paris, in Polynesia. So after they want to keep all this country as the French property, and at this time they really place in Africa or some other countries people who were the how do you say the French employees, you know. It is the truth, and you, in some African country, you have the same family who rule this country, since 40 years. So, but now it's very different because they feel that the world is changing. We know that liberty really means, and well, it's a new world.
Yeah. Coming back to our relations between Azerbaijan and France,
Oh, yeah.
of course, it's crystal clear that Azerbaijan is the most important country in South Caucasus, and it's a gateway for European Union, not only France, to get access to Central Asian countries. So it's better for France to keep positive relations with Azerbaijan.
Yeah, of course. But you know, even even the future of Armenia is having good relation with Azerbaijan and Turkey, of course. You see, Armenia is a very poor country, so if their only profit can come from having a good relation, and they don't have. So once again, if you are seeking for coherence, it's very difficult. Of course, there is a new world coming now. The new Silk Road, and Azerbaijan is in the center of everything. It is, as you said, the gate of the Caucasus, of Central Asia, and so on. So normally, we should build very strong relations with Azerbaijan.
Yeah, with all this negative pattern in our relations peaking right now, what do you think about the future of relations, cooperation? Do you believe in business as usual? Do you believe that someday our relations get better?
Between France and Azerbaijan? Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Yes. It's just, it's just policy. But I think that we need to have very strong links, economical links, of course, but also cultural links, because France and Azerbaijan have always been very close to each other. If you walked in the street of Baku, you feel you are in Paris, of course, you know. So we have, that the first trip abroad except of course in the Caucasus of Hidayat Aliyev was in France. France was the second country in the world to build an embassy in Azerbaijan. So of course I think everything will be fixed, but maybe sooner than we think, because you know the French people don't care about Armenia at all. They even don't know where is Armenia. You know what?
Why is France delivering weapons to Armenia while it's saying that we need peace in the South Caucasus? Because it's obvious that if you provide arms to an aggressor country where there are some revanchist forces, then you can trigger another conflict in the region.
Well, for the moment, they didn't deliver arms. They delivered trucks. Of course, you can put weapons on the trucks. I don't think that we will be more involved in the Caucasus fight. I think even for French people, Ukraine is more important than the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. They don't care really. I don't think it will be. They won't go forward.
But it's really undermining the peace efforts, because when we hear news about just the trucks going from France to Armenia, when we hear some statements from French government officials saying that we will be supporting Armenia, we will be delivering this and those weapons to Armenia, it's really just triggering tensions rather than paving way for peace.
Well, it's a stupid policy, of course, but as I told you, it's the consequence of the domestic policy is just to show to the right-wing parties that we are saving our civilization, you know, against the invasion of the Muslim world. You know, it's completely stupid, but it's just.
So again, religious aspects and nationalism, right?
Yes, religious aspect, nationalism, yes, but you know, it's not very serious. You know? It's just because the French media every day tell the same thing, but as soon as they will stop providing this information, everything will change.
So I think that will be my last question. Your key takeaways about relations between Azerbaijan and France.
Well, I'm sure that strong links between Azerbaijan and France will be profitable to everybody. As I told you, we have even strong cultural links between France and Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is like France, a very culturally rich country. Even our big pride, which is our big pride, which is the century of enlightenment. In fact, it comes from Azerbaijan, because Nizami Ganjavi, 5 centuries before, he taught about this liberty, fraternity, and so I think really in the future we will have, I'm sure, we will have very strong links between Azerbaijan and France. All the people I know who has visited Azerbaijan, they all say, wow, it's a wonderful country. Everybody. I don't know anybody who say, okay, oh, Azerbaijan, oh, I don't like. No, they love.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brun, for the interesting conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.